Alright guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to continue with the state wrestling tournament. This is our state wrestling tournament saga. Make sure you click like and subscribe so that you won't miss any of our anime content. And if you haven't checked out the last few videos, make sure you go back and watch those so this makes a little bit more sense. And check out this new cartoon avatar. I went back to using it. This one looks a little bit better, at least it doesn't have 3 heads.
Okay, so I was one of 2 people to qualify for our state tournament, and I was excited. I felt like I had just clinched a victory for the 7th universe in the Tournament of Power.
Do it! Goku! Frieza! Go! This must be the secret of the 7th universe. The power of trust.
Things were going great. My grades were good. I was attending school on a regular basis, and a court case from an earlier incident had completely been settled. I was now a semi-normal dude who was about to compete at states. I forgot to mention that year I ended up as a cheerleader. Cheerleading coach kind of tricked us. We were told it was the men's gymnastics team, and me being a wannabe ninja comic book guy who had learned how to do backflips at a young age, I thought, why not? When we went out and suddenly realized we were now cheerleaders, no pom-poms, but we had megaphones and tiny shorts, it was already too late. As a teenage boy, it was pretty cool hanging out with cheerleaders, but we still felt duped. Now, all of us, we were sort of football rejects, and we weren't small guys. So our first time doing a basket toss was quite effective. We threw the poor girl so high up in the air that we surprised ourselves. We looked up, admiring what we had done, and suddenly we were interrupted by the coach shouting, "You gotta catch her!" And we did. Well, we caught most of her. But there was no serious injuries. I continued cheering well into basketball season, and my ability to do back handsprings impressed the crowds. I would get cheers and all, and people, I almost had like a little fan following until we went up against our rival school, and there was a male cheerleader there that was like a real ninja. I mean, this guy flipped circles around me. Not long after that, my wrestling coach told me if I didn't quit, he was going to beat the beep out of me or whatever. So I gave that up. But not sure why I told that story, but hey, I did. Okay, so we were on our way to Lakeland for the big show. I felt like I had been teleported to this grand stage in this Tournament of Power. Now, this was decades before that story dropped, so to describe it, it was more like a Daniel LaRusso in the Karate Kid, or modern day version would be like Izuku at the UA Sports Festival. Except in this universe, my quirk was less about superhuman strength or flashy powers. It was more about, as my wrestling coach put it, me not going out on the mat getting the beat out of me. The air was thick with anticipation, or maybe it was just the combined scent of sweat, adrenaline, and Kinshield, and a little bit of Axe body spray. My heart raced like I was Naruto, running head first into a battle against an opponent far beyond my level. I was fueled by this unshakable ninja-like spirit. I remembered my journey here. It was a path littered with all kinds of obstacles that would make even the toughest hero consider turning back. Yet I pressed on, fueled by determination and a newfound faith. My life hadn't been a series of battles against power-mad villains, but rather against circumstances, against the odds, against adversity and self-doubt. And like every good anime protagonist, I had my tragic backstory, homelessness, troubles, fights, and a family that could have been the subject of their own dramatic saga. Yet here I was, about to step onto the mat, my own tournament arc climax unfolding. Thinking back, it reminds me of Goku constantly facing stronger adversaries, always finding a way to break past his limits. Even though I wasn't always the weakest on the mat, I felt I had to overcome more than most to get to the point where I was at. There was no school bus to my neighborhood, so it was close to a 2-mile walk each way. That's rain, that's heat, or whatever. And once I was sold out on wrestling, that meant I was walking it every day. And for matches, I was also walking at night, risking being robbed or killed. So for me, half the battle was just showing up and making it home. I had made it against all the odds, and I had succeeded in ways I previously thought impossible. That Saiyan blood metaphorically flowed through my veins, pushing me towards my own Super Saiyan moment. My first match was against an opponent who on paper seemed like he had stepped right out of One Punch Man. Someone who could end my journey with a single blow. I was pretty excited about my record and my chances coming into the state tournament, but when I saw the people in my bracket, I suddenly was back in that mindset of that scrawny kid who got thrashed as a freshman. The arena, this colossal behemoth of lights and echoes, swallowed my confidence momentarily. I felt like Deku, quaking in his boots, yet burning with an inner fire to prove himself. The match began, and for a moment I was in complete control. I moved with a precision that surprised even myself, channeling my inner ninja, flipping and dodging with a flair that would have even made the most seasoned Naruto fan nod in approval. Now the dodging and flipping, that was all cap. I muscled and stalled to survive the first period. The first period ended with me ahead, and it was a small victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. Then the error came. I chose the bottom position, a tactical misstep that would haunt me. My opponent, capitalizing on it, turned the tide in a series of skilled maneuvers that left me scrambling. I thought of Dragon Ball Z, of how Goku would find himself on the back foot, pushed to his limits before rallying back to win. Except this time there was no dramatic comeback, no hidden power surge. The whistle blew, it was over, and I had lost. The defeat was crushing, a swift kick to my gut that winded me more than any physical blow could. I had miscalculated and paid the price. The tournament setup was unforgiving. My opponent's loss in the next round meant I was entirely out of the tournament. From hero to zero, just like that. But like every protagonist facing their low points, I was faced with a choice: to accept this defeat as the end or to use it as motivation to push harder. My Saiyan spirit wouldn't allow me to quit. I was determined to train, to improve, and to come back stronger. This wasn't the end, it was merely a plot twist in my ongoing saga. The narrative arc of my life, punctuated by this moment of failure, wasn't a tragedy, but a stepping stone. I knew my journey was about pushing past my limits, about finding my true strength. This defeat wasn't just a loss, it was a lesson, one that would carry me as I moved forward, training harder and smarter and getting better intentionally rather than just showing up and hoping for the best. As I left the arena, the echoes of my defeat ringing in my ears, I couldn't help but smile. In every anime or action movie, the hero faces setbacks, but it's their response to those setbacks that define their character. I was ready to write the next chapter, to be the protagonist of my own life, determined to return not just as a competitor, but as a champion. Ahead lay challenges, rivals, and battles that would test me to the core. Just like any strong anime warrior, I was ready to face these head on. After all, every great story needs a bit of surprise, humor, and a protagonist who refuses to give up no matter the odds.